What's up, gamers? My name is Drew Baker, and this is Drew's Design. In this segment, I'll be discussing the aspects of game design that I find most interesting, and I'll look at what makes and breaks a game. Today, we're going to take a look at a staple of video game design, and that is the shortcut. For years, gamers have been hoping developers would implement this tech in real life, but it looks like it's only virtual for the moment. Jokes aside, shortcuts are a well-known design technique that encourages gamers to look beyond what is shown on the game's bare surface. Shortcuts are a satisfying way to reward players who explore deep into a game's depth, and they can be defined as multiple things. Often describable as a complete skip through a world to cut to the later chapters of a game, avoiding large portions of said game, shortcuts are essentially cheat codes built into the route that a game holds. For example, some of my favorite shortcuts come from popular Nintendo games. In Super Mario 3, there's a procedurally quick way to skip to World 8 within your first 30 minutes of playing. As long as you grab 2 of the 3 warp whistles available within the first 2 worlds, then you'll be able to warp to World 8 instantly. And if you somehow observe the specific landmarks that indicate the warp whistle shortcuts, then you still had to understand what exactly to do in each scenario in terms of input through the controller. And by all means, if you figure these warps out in your first ever playthrough, then I honestly want you as a guest on this show. In World 1-3, you specifically had to input down for 2 to 3 seconds to drop through a very specific white block. But that didn't require the preparation like the block in World 2, where you needed to find a hammer first, and then you had to break a very inconspicuous rock on the top of the map just to reach an alternate path on the game board containing a side boss who will grant you a warp whistle after you defeat him. All that for an easy pass to the end game, a casual player and a speedrunner's dream. Another great example comes from Mario Kart 64 in the Koopa Troopa Beach level. In this level, there's a jump into a cave that just requires some boost to get into. And whether you achieve this with a mushroom or a drift boost, you'll still be granted a really quick shortcut through the level, completely skipping a significantly slower turn in the map. Later developments in strats recently have shown that all you need to do is actually time and aim a perfect jump into the wall below the cave, and you'll subsequently bounce right in the shortcut. Now, racing maps designed with visible yet challenging shortcuts fairly provide a chance to any player to get ahead. It's design choices like this that promote replayability and mastery of a game. And these are 2 concepts that I would love to talk about later because they're so important to making a game enjoyable. Mario Kart 64 is filled to the brim with juicy skips like these. In Rainbow Road 64, you can simply jump over a large turn in the map, subsequently stomping on your fellow players' hopes and dreams. Shortcuts involving driving are my favorite type to encounter, especially in non-racing games with vehicles. Even in games where you aren't racing to the finish, you can find driving shortcuts all over the place. In a select few of Call of Duty Black Ops multiplayer maps, there's actually a plethora of shortcuts for the RCXD score streak, completely giving you safe access to populated areas for undetected intrusions. Now, this adds a lot of variety and creativity to the maps, just by simply employing spaces that only the smallest vehicle in the game can get through. This game, in turn, has some of the most creative maps in this thinly strung franchise. In the game Smuggler's Run, missions consist of driving from point A to point B, with a strict time limit on the objective. This game subsequently allows you the freedom of driving in an extremely hilly and varied open world, so any optimization of time is basically finding more and more shortcuts through the world, thus cutting time and avoiding the ecstatically eager police force. This game is a hidden gem by Rockstar from the PS2 era. It's honestly pretty endearing to find yourself tackled by police cars in the ruts of certain missions. This raises the game's entertainment value beyond just driving, simply just by adding GTA-style law enforcement. You need to discover and employ shortcuts simply to pass the missions, and let alone with a good rating. This game is a great example of shortcuts as a design point. There is another type of game though that we all know and have to deal with that is constantly employing shortcuts in their structure. The pay-to-win game is so common nowadays that they end up really disappointing when you find yourself needing to wait to play or simply having to pay some money to continue on the same path and keep playing as you were. Games designed like this are usually free off the bat and make their money through microtransactions. They allow the player a ton of time in the game to test gameplay out and partially build up their characters and classes, but as soon as the first gate is open, the game will ask you to wait to play or simply go, hey, throw us some money and you can finish the game. Games like these are usually mobile phone games or multiplayer games on console and PC. Another common design theme of this game type is that the more money you spend, generally the stronger position you'll hold in the game or the quicker you'll be able to beat the game. This pay-to-win design point is trifling to say the least. Simply paying money gives you the instant gratification of completing and beating something. You pretty much pay someone else to feel as if you've accomplished something. Psychologically, this is similar to materialism in real life where a person finds themselves spending money just to find happiness. Now that I've rambled on what kinds of shortcuts exist, I hope you'll start seeing them in the design of the games you play frequently. If you'd like, tweet me at ZTVGoofingOff with the hashtag DrewsDesign. And thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.